When you think of a coming-of-age film, what do you think of? You have the classics like 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink. All films about a group of friends, usually in high school, discovering who they are. For a more modern-day coming-of-age story, look at films like Superbad, The Way, Way Back, or Booksmart. All films that have to do with figuring out who you are and what your life is supposed to be about. These films help people like me get inspired for 90 minutes and think I can figure my whole life out in a single life-changing Saturday detention, or a summer, or a school year. Well, that is, and then you have films like Raw, a body horror film where the director herself says that it's actually not a horror film, it's actually a coming-of-age film. And having seen this film multiple times, I have to agree. The fact that I love this film as much as I do is probably one of the more pretentious things about me, because not only is this an artsy and self-proclaimed coming-of-age film, it's also French. So how did I find out about Raw? Well, just like Pet, it was on that trailer app on an old phone. I saw the poster, read the synopsis, and in this case, I actually did watch the trailer, and to be completely honest, I was hooked. However, as I said, this is a French film, so it wasn't widely released in the US, so I figured it would be a film that I would either see down the road or, for all I knew, possibly never. Then I found a DVD of it at a discount video shop, and I bought it, and I fell in love with it. It is so damn unapologetic, and for the lack of a better term, raw in the story it's telling. So what is Raw? It's about a vegetarian vet student who, through a rather unfortunate series of events, becomes a cannibal. Yeah, most of the time when I explain what this film is, I get people asking, why on earth would I watch a film like this? And to be honest, I don't have a sufficient answer. Raw was released in 2016, and apparently originally it was called Grave, which I don't see why it would be called that. Raw makes so much more sense given the subject matter. Either way, I'm glad it wasn't called Grave. The film was written by Julia Ducaranu? Ducarunu? I butchered that last name. I'm so very sorry to her. It also stars Garancy Mariiller as Justine. I think that's how you pronounce her name. So that leaves the question, who is Justine? Well, Justine is a vegetarian, and she is just starting at the I'm not even going to attempt to say that, veterinary school, and there she meets her roommate Adrian, played by, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to attempt that. I'm sorry, I'm not going near that one. A gay man, and the two spark a bond more out of bitterness for others rather than an actual liking for each other. We also meet her sister, Alexia, or simply Alexi. Now, like I said, Justine is just starting at this very established and well-endowed vet school. And apparently, when you're a freshman there, you are hazed by the upperclassmen. And it's actually kind of brutal at points. Like, they're awakened in the middle of the night, their rooms are messed up, and then they're taken to an underground party. Okay, that one isn't so bad. And at one point, Justine gets covered in paint and is forced into a closet with a guy she doesn't know. Sadly, it doesn't end well, as when this happens, she is in her cannibal phase, and she bites a chunk out of the guy's lip. At another point, the underclassmen get covered in animal blood, are forced to eat rabbit kidneys for some reason. How is all this happening at a vet school? Well, after she is forced to eat a rabbit kidney, she gets food poisoning, but she also gets something else. She now has an unquenchable hunger for meat, which, in case you forgot, is not very vegetarian of her. Adrian, being the good person that he is, tries to help her by taking her far away from the school so no one can see her eating meat, but that doesn't satisfy her hunger, so she eats raw chicken. A very natural progression. And then during a sister bonding experience, Justine accidentally gets Lexi's finger cut off, and instead of helping her sister, she starts gnawing on the finger. Like I said, this film is very unapologetic. Later, Lexi takes Justine out into the middle of nowhere and causes a car to go off the road into a tree, killing the driver, and then Lexi starts eating part of the guy's head. So yeah, the whole cannibal thing isn't just a Justine problem, it's also a Lexi issue. So to speed up a little bit, Justine and Adrian end up having sex, and during it, she bites the fuck out of her arm, and according to the writer herself, it was meant to mimic Justine climaxing, which, to be fair, is pretty easy to see, just given her acting and the reaction she's having to everything going on. Now, I'm not going to go on much more, because there are a few twists and turns that happen later in the film, that I don't want to spoil for you, because I feel that those things are best left for you to discover. But that is a basic summary of what the film is about. So, why is Raw a masterpiece? Like I said, this film isn't directly a horror film, Yes, there are horror elements. Those are mostly in the body horror area, but there are no parts that are actually scary, unless of course you are scared of cannibalism. In that case, there are some pretty scary moments. I'm not saying the film fails at being scary, I'm just saying that the film isn't trying to be scary. It's simply just a coming-of-age film that involves cannibalism, and it's very well told. We see this meek, shy girl in Justine become more open and outgoing as the film progresses. At least a little bit. Her and Adrian, who in the beginning are only friends because they are roommates, begin to love and care for each other's well-being, and we see that progression. The girl who plays Justine does a phenomenal job in this movie. Her performance is so insane to watch as she transforms into this new person. The guy who plays Adrian is also really good. Like I said, he's gay, but Justine and him have sex, which is followed up on. It's not just something that happens and is never brought up again. It does affect Adrian. He's clearly struggling with his sexuality, and it comes through his performance so well. Not only that, but we see Adrian go from a cold and seemingly uncaring person towards Justine to having genuine love for her, whether it's sexual or not. Both performances are absolutely stunning. I also want to mention Ella Rumpf, I think that's how you say her name, who plays Lexi, Justine's sister. Much like Justine, she is going on a descent into this madness of this insatiable urge to consume meat, to the point where she is causing car accidents just to eat people. Her descent is so fascinating since when we first see her, she seems pretty normal. She's just a normal college student. She goes to parties, she has friends, she goes to class, you know? That's really what I count as normal. How about that? And we see her dealing with this addiction and just pure desperation to satisfy this addiction to eating people. Nevertheless, all of these performances, the writing and direction are all top tier. Plus the cinematography is outstanding. Some of these shots are just breathtaking. Not only that, but the effects are also top notch. From what I can tell, almost all of it is practical. I don't think much CGI was used, and that will always give a movie bonus points to me. Everything about this movie is just so outstanding. The acting, the writing, the dialogue, the direction, the effects, everything about it is just so good. This film is a masterpiece. Pretty much everything in this movie works. This is a truly great coming-of-age film, and one that should be added to the lineage of coming-of-age films, along with The Breakfast Club and Booksmart. It's an engaging tale of a young woman discovering who she is. In this case, it's a cannibal, but nevertheless, she does discover who she is. I love this movie, and I say this not as a snobby film student, but as a snobby wannabe YouTuber. Whatever. In my opinion, this movie is near perfect. It gets a 9 out of 10 from me.